Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts are meant to give everyone a voice, a chance to speak with others who are passionate advocates for expanding the blockchain's use cases out into the world and beyond. Do you have a crypto community you would like to represent and hold open Hangouts for? If so, you might find yourself on the path to owning a stake in Beyond Bitcoin. We are looking for people who care about people who want to bring others together, because crypto communities are people. Beyond Bitcoin is a movement of thinkers and doers in the crypto space. And if you feel you are one of them, reach out to beyondbitcoin@gmail.com for more information on how to debut your community's efforts to reach to the stars and beyond. This is another Beyond Bitcoin Hangout. Today is Friday, December 30th, 2016, and we are going to be joined today by, as every week, a bunch of people who are very interested in blockchain technology. Many use cases exist for blockchain technology outside and beyond Bitcoin, that we are in an industry in a time when we are looking and searching for these different use cases, and we want to debut especially projects that are interested in graphene technology and that are working with graphene technology, because we believe that its scalability and its governance features, self-governance features, and flexibility are feature sets that are extremely powerful as we move forward into blockchain future. Now, with that said, we use Beyond Bitcoin as a means of kind of crowdsourcing this type of content. So anybody who has their own content or their own projects and would like to join up to talk about their projects that are based on blockchain technology, they can go ahead and they can RSVP on steemit.com on the Beyond Bitcoin tag. We always put an RSVP thread. And I just want to say this every week for those who are familiar with this. It sounds like a broken record, but if you're new and you're listening to this, we are a new kind of media platform for cryptocurrency and for the world to potentially be able to utilize cryptocurrency to turn the old models on their heads. We want to pay you to be able to cover your project and be transparent about it. So that's precisely what these RSVP threads do. When you fill out the RSVP thread and you post your project and you go out to the community of people who you have earned trust with over time, and you ask them to leverage their own power to upvote you, it shows that you are a trusted person. It shows that you are bringing more transparency to the field, because everybody who's in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology knows this is the wild, wild west, and we don't have a lot of sheriffs. And a lot of us don't even know that we want sheriffs. We just want some rules that it's plainly apparent, and we don't need sheriffs. So with that said, I want to appreciate everybody who joins these every week. This is going to be Hangout number 188. So we've been doing this for quite some time now, and we look forward to having many more in the future. So what I'm going to go ahead and do today is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get into who we're going to be talking to today, whose projects are going to be covered. Number one, the first one is going to be Peerplays, and they're going to be giving some updates on the Peerplays project, which is a game betting platform based on graphene with a lot more to it than just that. So we'll leave that to the experts to talk about and answer your question. Chris4210, who's going to be joining to give some updates from BlockPay, and is going to be talking about some lucky winners for one of the contests that they're holding. And then we're going to be talking to, it looks like, Menta from the Dawn project. And the Dawn project is a next-gen blockchain project. It says that they say that it combines open source hardware with feature-specific blockchain. Following that, we're going to be covering Virtual Growth and some of his projects. He will be giving some updates on what he's doing with his community activities in the Steemit platform. After that, we're going to be talking with Kernel, and that is KRNEL for those who are interested in looking him up. He is going to be talking about SteemKure, discuss some ideas, and it's going to be regarding the curation of Steam content and a tool that he is trying to create to help to make the curation a little bit better on the Steam platform and a little bit easier for communities to surround and support good content. So all of this is valuable for those who participate in these Hangouts. I would urge you to check out the various projects that exist here because they are all going in our toolbox, and especially the ones that people are transparent and don't give up, they end up working out eventually. So just keep your eyes on all these projects and feel free to contact them or keep in touch with them and help them out in any ways that you feel like you might like to do. These projects really can always use some support from good people. Now, with that said, I've given a little bit of an update and an intro here, but we're going to need to start talking to the actual projects. So Peerplays is going to be data security node. Is crypto security? Is Crypto Prometheus going to be here today or no?
No, he will not.
Okay. Well, I know that he was on the road yesterday on a long drive, so I will definitely hope that he is doing well, and we'll talk to him in the future. But you're going to be giving some updates. Is that correct, Data?
That's correct.
All right. Well, I'll step back and let you do what you do best, man.
Thank you very much, Fuzzy. Hello, everybody. My name is Jonathan Bahai. I am the president of Bunker Chain Labs, the company which is heading up the Peerplays project. And today, I just want to review what's happened in the past week for the project. Last week, we made the announcement, or actually last week was the signal of the markets closing for Peerplays trading. And following that, there was 3 days to follow where people were able to contact us to authorize the transfer of Peerplays from one account to another. So that was up until December 26th. A number of people took advantage of that and were able to transfer their Peerplays from one account to another for whatever reasons were necessary. And that was it. And then, of course, that was right through Christmas. And right now, the reason why Michael isn't with us today is because he is actually meeting with developers as we speak, discussing detailed plans in regards to the Peerplays development. So we are still we're even while we're doing this update, we're still working. So, but through the holidays, things slowed down as they generally do with most projects, and that was really that all happened over the past week, other than the fact that we've set up another internal test net and are preparing to put together the elements of our wallet so that we can make that available as soon as possible. The next announcement, or actually the next update, major update, is going to be January 13th, 2017, which is only less than 2 weeks from now, or about 2 weeks from now. So at that time, we'll be giving information in regards to the upcoming ICO. So that's all I have for today. We're a day away from the New Year's. We're very excited what 2017 is going to mean for Peerplays and everybody involved. So we're just totally pumped up. The entire team is ready to go, and that's all I have for today. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to field them.
Do you guys know yet when what the price of the ICO is going to be set at, or have you guys established that yet?
Well, anybody can look at the history of what happened in the last days of the market when our trading was closed. We don't anticipate our price being too far from that, but that we don't have that information currently to answer your question specifically. So January 13th, once again, is when information on the next ICO will be released, and so about that time.
Sounds good. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Data? I'm really pumped to see everything really starting to come together, man. Like it's going to be another graphene chain that. Let me ask you a question. As far as Steam and all those things, are there going to be any ways of working with Steam and Bitshares that you see that people who are from those communities could benefit those communities as well if they're like really, say I'm a very big advocate for Steam or Bitshares and I don't really know a whole lot about Peerplays. Is there anything that it would help my chain with as well if I'm looking for, Peerplays as a tool to do stuff like that? To bring people in, maybe to funnel people in to graphene ecosystem. Like, do you guys talk about how we can use Peerplays to kind of not only make money, I guess, but really reveal, like, help all other graphene chains to get noticed?
Well, just thinking out loud, and first things that come to mind would be in regards to Steam. I can imagine people who play games on Peerplays likely may want to share things like screenshots and video captures of their games, specifically on Steam, and be able to upvote those that you like. And of course, using their Steam, they could turn around and be able to use that in Peerplays and create tournaments and be able to.
So they could make money advertising and playing on Peerplays, and then turn around and take the rake that they earn, or take the money they earn from getting upvoted, and then go back into Peerplays and win or lose some more money. Is essentially what you're saying.
I guess it depends how good of a player they are, but yeah, there's a lot of opportunities in regards to the whole business of sharing gaming content is very popular, and of course the Peerplays token, of course, is a dividend type of profit sharing token. So everything that's wagered on the network could be Steam that's being wagered. It could be Bitcoin. It could be Ether. So when people gain those balances from the network, it all depends on what everybody is working with. So if a lot of people end up coming to Peerplays and using Steam as the standard, then we're going to see a lot more Steam circulating throughout Peerplays, and suddenly everybody who's in Peerplays, their wallets are suddenly going to be filling with Steam. Right, so that's cool. That would be very interesting. And similarly with Bitshares, I mean, if people are wagering with BTS, then their wallets could be filling with BTS, and of course that goes across the entire network. So of the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of players are suddenly receiving all these cryptocurrencies that they can then turn around and utilize in various ways. Of course, I think that a lot of them are going to turn around and want to see, like, well, what's the Steam all about? And they find out, wow, it's a cool social network. So yeah, that's I think there's a lot of opportunity for cross promotion and usage that Peerplay is gonna introduce for all cryptocurrencies. It is again the cooperative DAC design that we've created is certainly conducive to supporting all digital currencies that are out there.
There's a few questions here on the side I'm going to ask. Thank you for the answer, by the way, because that's precisely the type of stuff that I keep telling people. Each of these chains. If you talk to the developers and the people who know the chains inside out and sit there and think about it day in and day out, like you, we can hear and get some insight into how to use this tool, because it's another tool in our toolbox. But anyway, the question is coming from, it looks like G Chicken. Is Peerplay's referral program being started during the ICO process?
Yeah, so we did talk about earlier this year offering a referral program, referral rewards actually, for promoting the upcoming ICO, and that will be still in effect. We still have plans to have that available, so we will be releasing information on that. I don't know if it'll be the same time as January 13th. It'll probably be shortly following that. So we will give people enough time to go ahead and be able to promote the ICO and be able to earn those rewards for being part of the promotion.
Looks like that question has been covered. G Chicken has no other questions regarding that. Will the code, this is by Fox, will the code be open sourced prior to the end of the ICO period?
I don't believe it will be. The code will be open sourced closer to the launch of the live blockchain, most likely.
And then Brindle Swan has a question. won't people want to wager with something like the dollar related, like SBD or BitUSD from BitShares?
Well, that's a good question. Won't people want to? I believe there would be an opportunity if there's demand. It really comes down to the demand of the whole thing. I mean, in regards to this, there's certain issues in regards to SBD and BitUSD, and what that has to do is what we like to refer to as on ramping and off ramping. It's SBD and BitUSD are basically derivatives of are basically derivative backed assets which are representative of a US dollar. So when the thing is that it'd be great if people would be able to just get those in their hands and be able to use them, but the process for people to obtain those, there's only a couple of ways they can get them. They can either be involved in Steam or and be able to earn them from their posts or for curation rewards and whatnot, and converting their Steam into SPD perhaps, or they can buy it outright in the exchanges. But before they get into those places, before they get into the exchanges specifically, they're going to be getting Bitcoin. So they're going to be going from dollars to Bitcoin to going into an exchange to buying SBD, and then now they got to go back and start using it. It creates a couple of layers of complexity that just make it less easy to use than, say, putting in your PayPal login or sticking your credit card number in and being able to use something. So with these things, if there's more liquidity and if there's more ease of access to these assets, then it becomes more likely that we can utilize those within the network, and it becomes a standard. But the whole process of on ramping and whatnot is an issue. And I don't know at this stage exactly how that's all going to play out. So these are things in crypto in general, which are outstanding issues which every project faces. I mean, even Steam itself. So that's about all I can say. Do people want to use it? I guess we'll ultimately see.
Well, it's starting to look pretty good to me. I mean, when I noticed you guys were on CoinMarketCap for for a little while there, but obviously because the trading froze for this upcoming phase, you're no longer on there. But you guys were in the top 10 and probably would have continued going higher had it not been. Now, I'm not a day trader, so I'm not going to say I know for certain. However, I will say that I was pretty stunned by how high the price went in the market cap. So it seems like there's some market interest.
Yeah, we definitely closed out with a very strong market. I think at one point the 24-hour the 24-hour volume was somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000. So that was pretty good for our last days. And yes, that's correct. With CoinMarketCap, if an asset doesn't have any trading volume for a day, it basically drops off of its front page leaderboard. But we finished at number 9. So that was where we finished off when we closed our markets.
And that was ahead of Steam, just so everybody here knows. So it was above Steam at that point in time.
But I think the market value was around $40 million that day. So it was really, really nice evaluation of the platform.
Yep. G-Chicken's saying, imagine the Peerplays price with a BT site Bitcoin price of $5,000. Now there's a question here by, it looks like Solomon Solars and Sense is asking, what are your thoughts on Circle?
Sorry, I'll need more specific idea of what that question is in regards to.
Well, you were talking about how it's hard for BitUSD and those other assets to get adopted by the masses. And as someone who used Circle for the on-ramping and off-ramping of Bitcoin, I was very impressed with the experience. And so I think the issues you brought up were really they're real. But I feel like the problem in the crypto space is a lot of people don't like to take a traditional look at what technology companies usually do to address the issues of not having resources to build the products that people actually need. And I think this is one of them where, before Circle even started, they raised $9 million. And they were able to build a real experience that if they kept going with, I think would have most certainly taken over Coinbase. And they've dropped the Bitcoin stuff to really focus on competing with Venmo. But why I asked, like, what do you feel about Circle in that sense?
Well, Circle is a good example of a provider, an exchange provider of sorts that is trying to make the on-ramping process easier and more user-friendly, like you said. There are a couple of different players out there that try to do it in different ways. I would definitely, it's definitely something that every project should be looking at in regards to ways that they can work with these types of providers to make for an easier onboarding process. We haven't specifically signed any deals or anything like that in regards to who we might use, but definitely are open to anybody who has a very simple way for people to utilize Peerplays and be able to utilize different types of tokens that they would prefer to use. So ultimately, it is going to be the market that decides. So if you're the only guy that's coming to Peerplays with your Steam and nobody else wants to play you with Steam, then I guess the market's telling you that they just don't want to use Steam. But if you're coming in and it turns out you're wanting to wager with Steam-backed dollars, SBDs, and it turns out, hey, everybody else is using those too, then that might catch on. And the way that Peerplays works with its profit sharing capabilities, the fact is that this is going to give massive distribution to all of these different tokens. So if Steam people who hold Steam go to Peerplays and start using it, well, as they continue to play, it's just going to get more and more distribution to every single person in the network. So there's a good opportunity for projects out there like Bitshares and Steam to be able to gain more traction and more users and more distribution through using Peerplays, playing on Peerplays.
I see. No, and that's a great point. I think I would want to know, are you guys, I guess where I'm trying to go with this is, are you guys closed off to raising traditional rounds of funding to really boost your platform? Because right now, I think you guys are going to do really great things. And my concern, which is a concern for all projects, is that, again, crypto projects don't take a traditional look at what companies usually do for growth stages and stages in which onboarding is really needed. So are you guys open to that? I guess is kind of what I'm trying to say. Because I know a lot of people look at centralized companies and say, this or that, but the reality is, those kinds of things are what is needed to the raising of traditional rounds or getting large sums of resources in currencies. It's needed for growth stages.
Yes. So in regards to Peerplays and what we're doing as an organization to establish this blockchain, which once it launches, it's kind of its own thing. We are concerned with these things, like I said, but we aren't going to be looking to create our own gateway, so to speak, to address this particular onboarding issue. Will we want to? We are having another IC. We are having an upcoming ICO on January 13th. So, in regards to traditional financing, like you put it, are we open to it? I guess you could say yes. But in regards to this specific problem that we're talking about, in regards to being able to turn dollars to digital currencies, we really are going to be looking for third-party providers that have gone further, like Circle, for example, in this specific space, and do our best to work with them to be able to make it an easy experience for people to come into Peerplays, possibly using services like their own. But I don't think we're going to be making it where there's going to be a quote-unquote exclusive specific party. And ultimately, once we've launched the blockchain, it's not going to really be up to us at that stage.
Cool. Thanks, Data. That's what I wanted to know.
Well, thank you for the question, and thank you, Data, for joining up today to talk about what's going on and to answer some of these questions, because one thing I've found is that no matter what, it seems like even if you end your update in a couple minutes, it's very easy. There's always questions from people in the community who are interested in the project and who are very familiar with graphene in general and what you guys are doing with it. So we always have people asking questions. We always have questions that need to be answered. So I really do appreciate you joining up today. I'm sure I speak for everyone here to answer some of those questions. Now, just in closing, if anybody wants to contact you outside of these Hangouts, how would they go ahead and accomplish that?
Sure. So you can go to peerplays.com. We provide our email address there at powerup@peerplays.com. You could also join us in our Rocket Chat channel, which is peerplays.chat. And we also have a variety of social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all these places. Highly recommend that you follow because whenever we have any major announcements, which we also publish on peerplays.com/news, those are all pushed out to our social media channels as well. So if you want to be able to contact us through any of those means, there's always somebody there to answer any questions. We also have live chat available most of the time on peerplays.com as well. So you can be able to connect with us there too.
Thank you much. And we're going to be talking next with Chris 4210 from BlockPay. You're going to be giving some updates today on the BlockPay platform and some different things that you're doing with BlockPay currently, right? Is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. So today we want to talk about a little bit about the Christmas contest. I want to name the 10 winners, and I want to thank everybody for participating in the BlockPay Christmas special. We got a lot of cool feedback from the people who gave us a lot of good insights, where they would love to use digital currencies like Bitcoin and others to pay. And I want to read one or two quotes. But before we start here, I just want to plug our new chat room that we are using for communication, and that is the Discord chat. Just going to put it here in the chat room channel and on the Mumble. And for all those who are listening on the podcast, you can also find the chat room on our webpage. If you go to blockpay.ch, you can find it on the top of the screen. There's a link where you can join the chat room, where you get first-hand inside information about what is going on with BlockPay and all our other products. Looking back to the contest, our goal was basically to increase user interaction, and we also wanted to know where's the best space that you would like to use your digital currencies. And we got tons of good feedback, and among of the 10 people that gave us feedback, we had, for example, here one guy who would love to use Bitshares to pay for a new car at Tesla Motors. So I think we still have a little bit of a way to go to use Bitshares to buy a Tesla motor, but we are already talking with a couple of Tesla suppliers, for example, to install BlockPay into the recharging stations. So when you're driving up with your Tesla and you want to charge your car, you need to pay somehow. How do you do that? So we are looking into ways here how we can install BlockPay onto the charging stations, that you can just take Bitshares to pay, or that you take Steam to pay. So I thought that was a really cool quote, and we are working on that to make that happen. Another one that I really liked was here from CM, so I think it's Custom Miner from Steam, and he was promoting Gridcoin as well, and he would love to use Gridcoin in the grocery stores. I think that is also a very nice idea, because that's something that you can do in the future too. So with BlockPay, you can use also your own URAs, and if they have a market value, if they have a market where you can trade them, you can use them to pay, because it's a Bitshares asset, which makes it pretty cool, because it means even you can create your own coins and go to a market and pay with them. That is all the same technology. We are doing all that in the background. So for the merchant, you don't even have to tell them the name of your coin. You just say you want to pay digital with Bitshares, with smart coins, and we do all the rest in the back. So you can have your own personal coin to go to a store and to buy products. And that's pretty cool. Another thing that I want to highlight at the end is there was one person who wanted to use it for, Apple Crisp. He was on, I think on Twitter, and he was writing, he would like to use Bitcoin to make a holiday donation to my local community food center, where people come together to grow, cook, and share and advocate for good food. And I think that is a really cool quote to also think about those people in need, to say, okay, how can we help them? How can we use donations? And how can we improve the whole charity system that is so broken right now? How can we enable direct donations and charity? And BlockPay and digital currencies here are a perfect match, because you can immediately send money to those people. They can use it, and if you know their direct Bitcoin wallet address or direct Bitshares address or whatever, you can directly send the money, and they can go out in the city and buy their Christmas presents and all the other things they need. So I think that was a really, really cool quote, and that's why it's one of the reasons why he also made the top 10 list. So for all of those winners, we are preparing a special Christmas present. We're right now gathering all the information that we need, especially the t-shirt size, and then we are going to send out the package with the t-shirt, the stickers, and also the BlockPay tokens to their accounts. And we want to thank everybody for participating in the event, and we are looking forward for new events in the new year to give you more BlockPay tokens, to have more fun together, and to celebrate 2017, which I think going to be a fantastic year for the whole blockchain industry, but also for the Bitshares community and for the Steam community as well.
I cannot disagree with that, Chris. I do not think anybody here is going to be able to disagree with that. Chaos in the world just means higher valued blockchains, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, in the last couple of days, I'm doing a lot of reading about the war on cash, and I always see the same comments of people why they want to ban cash, and they all want to move into digital money or in a cashless society, which is their own discussion. But what I really see is that when everybody's pushing into that cashless society, then it's always very one-sided. It's always controlled by governments and banks. But and especially it's all saved, all the transactions are transparent, everybody can see it. And even with a Bitcoin blockchain, you have the same problems. All the transactions are pretty much transparent, and everybody can track you, and you can easily be discovered and abused. And then I'm thinking about, we need a counterbalance. We need a platform that can really provide you more security, more privacy, because right now all of our privacy is taken away little by little. And we need to have a counterbalance, to have it a little bit more gray, to have a mix, to add more privacy with the technologies that we have. And I'm very happy that we can do that with our stealth features that we are building for Bitshares, that we can really add more privacy, more security for the users, for the people. And I'm hoping that the people will recognize this feature, this service that they can use, this tool, and gain more freedom again.
And perhaps most importantly, they get all this infrastructure far cheaper than any other competing infrastructure that really exists, right? I mean,
yeah, that is one of the benefits if you think about it, because cash is, it is expensive. It has a lot of problems, and there's a lot of good reasons to avoid cash or to move everything into digital. But also digital has its problems, and we really have to think about how we can build products and tools to counterbalance also the risk of a bank-controlled digital currency.
It's refreshing to hear people all the time in this space willing to state this fact openly, because we know for a fact, as our generation does, that banks like HBSC and God knows, I mean, the things that they do, that they get into, and that with very little accountability. And now these technologies can completely bypass that system, and it's a good thing to be able to say it out loud and let people know. Just like what you were talking about, not even with the bank, but it's so important that people realize even things like charity. I mean, how much money can be cut out and given? How much money can be given directly to the people that you would have given it to before with a blockchain as the intermediary? Because no longer do you have to worry about 80% of it coming out to run a bureaucracy as well that you can't even see really and get an easy accounting of things. These are some very powerful things, and I'm glad that you guys are helping to bring this stuff to Bitshares as well.
I think it's pretty much uncountable how much money you can save. I want to go back to a couple of questions here. I see Chicken had a question. The question is Stealth a separate income stream, or will it be a profit share candidate via BlockPay? The Stealth income will also be shared with all the BlockPay token holders, because the BlockPay token holder, when you have the tokens itself, you will have a direct share with all the different profit centers that we are building. So right now we have 7 different products in development, and all these profits that we are generating with these products are going to be shared with our token. So it's not a separate income stream. Our investors are not cut out on these profits that we are making. It will be all funneled. There's another question, I think. Do you see it right now?
I do not see it. I see his question.
Okay, then just a couple of ads. Anyways, okay. Another thing that I wanted to mention in our section of the BlockPay talk is just want to do a little plug for the specific BitShares talk we just had an hour ago. What we have started today, the last Friday of 2016. Is a special show, starting 1 hour before the official Beyond Bitcoin show here on the Mumble, where we talk specifically about BitShares content. I saw a lot of people who were joining at the end. Just wanted to plug it again. If you have time, it is just 1 hour earlier. Please join us, ask your questions. We are just talking poorly about, or primarily about BitShares topics, about witnesses, about workers, how we can improve the platform. And we want to make this platform great and more knowledgeable, and we also want to share our insights. And I think also Data had a couple of very good points today that I would love to pick up in the next week, about share dropping. How can we incentivize or motivate startups to pay back to the BitShares platform? And I'm also thinking about that, how we can do that with our platform, with our project. And I would really would like to invite everybody to join us, to raise questions, ask things that you always wanted to know, how BitShares work. This is the time. It's 1 hour before the official Beyond Bitcoin show here on the Mumbles.
Well, as always, thank you for everything that you do, Chris, and thank you for everything that Ken and your team does. I know Rodrigo is always busting his butt behind the scenes. Is there any way that either of you guys can get that people can get in touch with you if they would like to, outside of these hangouts?
One of the best ways to get in touch with us is, of course, over the social media channels. So over Facebook or Twitter, you can easily reach us, but also on our website. Another good channel is, of course, the Discord chat, the chat room that I just mentioned at the beginning. So that is a good way how to reach out to us, to contact us, and to ask us any kind of question or problems that we have with the products we are building. Beside that, that's from our side. We have weekly updates. Every Friday, Ken is publishing his development updates. You can find that in the forum. If you want to know what is the current status on Stealth, I can give you a little overview. So we were working a lot on the Stealth features. We updated the zero knowledge transactions. There was a couple of problems in the general code. I think we could fix that so far. And there's a lot of other cool stuff that is happening right now in the development area, which I'm not really so familiar with. But if you want to know more, just read the updates in the BitShares talk forums, and you will know what is happening and how we are building this new product. And also another post, I think that is quite important. We are talking about the CIPFS. There's the first CLI wallet or client is now available for testing and downloading. So if you're interested in the technology of IPFS, then get that client, download it, test it, play around, give us feedback. What do you think? And we would be very gracious to get your ideas how we can improve the whole thing. We are working here very heavily with the IPFS community. I think we have like 10 people from their community who are helping us, contributing code and feedback. So they are very much aware of what we are doing, and it's a great synergy between us two to really make IPFS, the Bitshares blockchain, more, and the graphene of technology in itself more better known and shared with the world. There's actually one more question before I'm tuning out for 2016. Your ship was asking how's it going with Echo. Echo is going great because you have to understand that we have basically a core piece or a core component of technology, and that is a mobile wallet. That is the Smart Coins wallet. And Echo basically is just the Smart Coins wallet with a chat interface. It just looks a little bit different, but the core technology of sending and receiving different cryptocurrencies all in one is all within the Smart Coins wallet, and that wallet is developed very fast right now. We just released a new version a couple of days ago where we fixed a couple of security problems, and we are also added basically a new feature where you can update your private keys. And we are also moving forward with integrating the first Bitcoin, or the first other blockchain that we want to add, and that is a Bitcoin blockchain. So we have the first test running. We have integrated already in the first versions. So with the new Smart Coins wallet release, you will have the Bitshares blockchain and you will have the Bitcoin blockchain in one application. And then we are going to add 5 more blockchains. They're going to be the Steam blockchain, the Doge blockchain, the Litecoin blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain, and a 5th one. I don't know it right now out of my mind, but it's going to be similar to Jack's, a wallet that supports 5 to 6 different blockchains all in one, and also has all the stealth transactions. It has all the loyalty tokens that you have on the Bitshares blockchain, etc. And then what we are actually doing is we are promoting that Smart Coins wallet as a white label product to the market, and we have tons of requests for that. It's pretty amazing how many people want to have their own version of the mobile wallets with their own interface, but with the same capabilities, sending and receiving tokens within seconds. Everybody wants that. And as asked before, this white labeling is a fixed price. If you want to have your own version, it's a fixed quote. It depends how much, of course. If you want to have your own design, then it will have a different price. But all this income here is shared with all the BlockPay token holders. So we are sharing all these prices with all our investors and giving back to all of you. And that is basically the wrap up about the current state of Echo. So it's going along greatly, and I think we're going to have, I'm still planning to have the release for next year in summer. We're going to release Echo, and we're going to have an awesome chat messenger with 6 different chains, completely encrypted voice, video, chat, and wallet features. So you will have basically the best of the best that you ever wanted in a chat messenger, and it's going to be pretty amazing. So I'm looking forward to release that pretty much soon.
Projects, you're lagging behind, buddy, with your 3 amazing projects and then 4 other ones that are still getting built. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on here and talking. I make fun. You guys are doing like 80 different things and doing them all extremely well. Everybody who's paying attention to you guys is noticing this, and I'm glad that you guys are coming out and talking about what you're up to so people can see what's below the surface in Bitshares, especially because there are people, like, I laughed when people said, when Bytemaster leaves, which I don't even know if he technically has left in his own mind, but whenever he leaves, that Bitshares is dead. And I'm thinking there's an entire community of really bad dudes and dudettes who know what they're doing with this stuff, So good to see it, man. Thank you very much for joining up and covering this. And we're going to have to move on because we are a little bit over, but you were covering some pretty important stuff here. So next is going to be
Thank you for having me, and thank you for having me, Fuzzy. And I want to wish everybody a really good New Year. Have a good way over. And as we say in Germany, especially in Bavaria, einen guten Rutsch ins neue Jahr.
What does that mean?
Tell Ken Code to have a good New Year's as well, and take a break for a change.
I will let him know. Thank you.
Well, we can all take a break later. Anyway, next up is going to be Virtual Growth, and he has a few different links that he posted here, but he also, it looks like, it's going to be Steam Land that he's going to be talking about, and he's got a guest who is sirlunch the host, who joined us last week. And sirlunch the host, I'm assuming, is going to be talking a little bit as well. Virtual Growth, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't the Dawn project first, or is he not here today?
I didn't see him message me back.
Yeah, actually, I think it's ours first.
Oh, did you
hear me,
message
by the
me
way?
back? Oh,
I never saw a message from you.
oh, okay. I whispered you and asked you if you were there. So, okay, so you're there. Never mind. My apologies.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't see that.
No, it's okay. I just try to do that sometimes because for new guests, I don't always know, and there have been times when I've asked, and I try to ask it so I don't have to do as much editing. But it's okay. Next up is going to be Menta, and he's going to be talking about the Dawn project. And Menta, you of course are the person to go into the details about it. So, what were you going to join up today to talk about, and maybe you can give some updates and answer some community questions.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Well, thank you for joining us. We always say that the transparent projects are the ones you invest in.
Well, that's what we try to be. Today I'll be alone, though. We don't have Fadat with us today. He's traveling. But we do have some really big updates that I wanted to share. So first of all is that we decided on the technology of our blockchain that will run the currency, which is then in the end was Tendermint. And we have a testnet in a closed alpha at the moment. We have this running for a week and a half now, and we will be opening it up for the public soon as well. Our developers are now mainly focusing on finishing a demo, which we also hope to reveal in the coming weeks. Now, of course, with the holiday season, everything is a bit slower than we wanted it to, but things are running nicely. Now, we also made a really big decision regarding our funding. So we won't have any mining in our network because we run on Tendermint, but we also won't do an ICO. We decided to not have a pre-mine, not do an ICO, and actually don't have any kind of allocations in our Genesis block. So this means that we'll basically start with 0 coins at launch, right? So from the start, the only people who will be able to get our coins will be the validators of our network, which is very comparable to Steam witnesses or Bitshares witnesses. But there will be an extremely limited amount of validators at launch as well. We're looking at 32 or possible 64 to begin with. This is due to scaling issues with Tendermint, but our developers are also talking to the Tendermint team, and they are actually resolving these issues right now. Well, they're not issues, it's basically inherent in the design, but they are working to increase this number. So we aim to gradually increase this number over the coming months, basically. Now, our validators perform such a crucial tasks in our network that we do want to reward them accordingly. So they'll be getting almost all of the created tokens. Now, to fund our development, we reserve 10% of the daily created tokens for the Dawn team. So this will fuel our development and also allows us personally to provide liquidity on the markets. So we don't have to rely on our validators to do this. Now, all of this makes our validator nodes extremely profitable, though. So we are careful in selecting who can become one. You can't just become one. You actually have to buy one from us, and we have to allow you to become one because we have very strict requirements for it. Now, we do this because we want to take the political game also out of the validator process, like you have in Steam, is with you have to vote for the witnesses. We want to take this out. We want to have more control over it, and we also want people to take this really serious because it's an important task. So that's why we decided to sell these nodes. It also allows us for our funding right now, right? but it also makes sure the people who actually buy one are really serious about running it, and they actually become part of the team almost, right? So this was the major update about the chain side of things. Now, our project also has a big hardware part, right? And we have a really big update on that as well. We have the white paper that talks about the router, and we actually have 2 prototypes being shipped now as we speak. So this first version of our open source router is going to be one for home use, but it's not going to be your average home router though. It will feature a 32 gigabyte solid state disk, 4 gigabytes of RAM, a Celeron CPU, and AC Wi-Fi. We're looking at multiple input, multiple output ones. Hopefully we can find a 3 one, so the best ones basically for a correct price. If we do, we will ship them with that. At this moment, they're just 2 multiple input, multiple output ones, so 2 antennas. Now, the router will also run a system image that is created by us, but it's based on Arch Linux. Yeah, I see the question there. I'll post a link to the white paper in a second as well. Now, this router will not just be a router. It will also feature a couple of USB ports, a VGA, and an HDMI output. So you can use it as a media or a storage device as well. Now, we've just hired a product manager for this router and are setting up a Kickstarter campaign for it. We've seen similar projects do really well like this, and I think combining this with crypto might be. We think there's a big audience for this. We've already researched this, and we think the Kickstarter way is the best way to go because we feel it is most in line with our vision and the actual open source nature of the project. So again, with the holiday season, everything goes a bit slower. So we hope to get our Kickstarter campaign online in the coming weeks. Now, so these are the 2 main focus points of the team right now. Well, one is releasing our Tendermint-based chain, and the other is our open source router. So that's it basically. Now, if you want to know some more, I'll just drop this link to the white paper here right now. And if you have some questions.
Yeah, I have. I was going to type them out, but I'll go ahead and I'll ask them out loud. One was, what were the scalability issues that are being run into with Tendermint? And I'll go ahead and I'll leave that one on the table first.
Well, it's not so much scalability issues with the network itself, because it scales well to a large amount of transactions. It was scalability issues for our project specifically, because we want to have lots of nodes, lots of validators nodes. And we were more looking at a technology that would allow us to run hundreds of these nodes. Now, Tendermint doesn't allow that at this moment. So this is for us the scalability issue. It's not a scalability issue in the actual transactions or the technology in Tendermint. It's just how it works. The network works faster with fewer validators, right? But we actually want more validators. But actually, Fadat is actually talking with the guys from Tendermint, and they are actually looking into solutions for this as well.
The reason why I ask is because I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to have like a sweet spot for it, but with things like witnesses, in graphene, that might actually. I'm not the person to ask it, maybe though. That might be a framework that does work for that type of stuff, depending on what you guys are trying to do. But I've been told by other people who know what they're talking about too that Tendermint's a pretty solid platform. It's just, I guess it's better for different things from what I've understood, but I'm not an expert on it. The second question I guess I was going to ask you is, if somebody's going to go out and buy one of these open hardware, these pieces of hardware, and this is how they earn tokens in the network, right? What services will they be providing that really that you foresee giving an incentive for them to have these running on the network?
Well, actually these routers are separate from our chain. So our first idea was to combine these indeed in one device. Now we will still it will still be doable for people to run a validator node from our routers, but we've decided to not make it basically a device specifically for that. We make it into a more hub for your home that can do different kind of things, right? It could even run different mining, or not mining, so to speak, because it doesn't really have the capacity for it. But it can also run things like a storage farmer or something. So there are definitely possibilities that it could do apart in crypto, apart from being a really cool router that can also be a home server, and it can actually do a lot of things, right? Because it's also like with the HDMI outputs, it's really easy to just run a TV server on it as well. So it's going to be a multifunctional device.
Now, with multifunctional devices, generally comes a lack of efficiency, and if you're going to do something well, you're going to do it. You're going to build a device to do just that, generally, right? And if you're going to do something that's multifunction, it's generally going to be, at least in theory, it's going to be a little bit more costly and a little bit less efficient, right? So how do you guys see that not being a problem? You don't see a need for maybe specialized equipment in the future? The reason I bring this up is because, kind of like what Thomas is saying, these are pretty high-end routers, and they've got some pretty high-end specs. Now, this is like a general purpose type of resource, though, from what I understand. So I guess my question really is, are you guys seeing the potential for specialized devices coming up for different services and things like that, and the need for that?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's definitely something that could happen. Not so far in what we're doing right now, but we've actually been approached by several companies, even crypto companies, to create hardware specifically for their needs as well. So we actually see a trend going into these kind of things as well. Yes.
That's cool.
And we're actually thinking on we're actually designing another device that would become a full Bitcoin node. Basically, it would be, we could run this router and just modify it with a bigger disk, so it can run a full Bitcoin node as well, which is very easy to do then.
So these devices are things where you can kind of like, you can reach in and kind of take things out and put new pieces in, kind of like I think of, there was a cell phone called, I think it was Phone Blocks or something like that, or where you could actually customize it. Is that what you're trying to say? Like, it can be upgraded?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. Well, our entire concept is open source, so the hardware is open source, or the plans will be open source. So we encourage people to actually open it up and do things with it. Definitely. Yep. We that's why we actually release it for as well. Yeah.
And for the newbies who are listening in, I'm sorry, Bitcoin Paradise made a good point. He said it's modular, which is the best way of saying it, and I failed on that one. So I just have to plug that in there so people can learn that little word, because it is important for you guys. Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding this project with Menta? I obviously can talk about it, but I'm kind of curious.
I do.
Please.
Mainly, the question I have is, I think it follows along what you were saying, Fuzzy, is what incentives, or why would somebody want to invest the higher end money on this hardware? I mean, it's good quality hardware, I'm certain, but you must have an application in mind as to why you would want to invest in it, unless you're just kind of doing it for a general purpose. I'm preparing for the future. That's kind of the question I'm asking, is why would somebody want to invest in this high end hardware for a router when they can buy a router much cheaper? But obviously, we're not talking about just a router application. So could you enlighten me on that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Actually, I was skeptical at first as well when one of my business partners came up with this idea. But after some deep research, it seems there aren't really a lot of good routers on the market at this point, and there are definitely almost no good open source routers on the market at this point. So we are aiming specifically at tech enthusiasts, right? Or network professionals, or people who are very concerned about their security, because we can guarantee that our devices are free of any government control. Like, you hear these things these days that the NSA has backdoors in Cisco devices. So, well, we can guarantee that's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes good sense. I guess I'm thinking of routers that are capable of downloading software in them, like DDWRT, which is an open source project for routers, but they're obviously targeted for a different type of market. They're not blockchain oriented, and there's not enough memory to support a blockchain, which your router could capably do. So I guess that's one differentiation of the hardware right there, is what types of applications could it support. It goes well beyond a typical router that people would think of today.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the whole point. Like, we are not selling this to like normal consumers. Definitely not. We are just focusing on definitely tech professionals, and everybody needs a router in their house, right? But these, like, well, people like me basically as well. I would prefer one of those things that I can actually do a lot of things with, right? And that is a solid router as well in one go. So we actually, there is actually a big market for it, and there is even a predecessor Kickstarter campaign that was a very similar concept, but then without this much. Well, very the specs were much lower, and they managed to I think gather $2 million. So there is definitely a market.
Well, thank you for the answer.
How open source is open source? When I last looked at this a couple years ago, the low-level firmware of the components that you're going to be buying is not going to be open source.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But we have some contacts in China, though, and our goal is to basically, once we manage to increase the production, then we will demand the factory to open source their firmware, basically, and to open source their entire designs. We can do this because we do have actual chip designers in our team. So we help the factories with their design, and then we hopefully, well, I know this is China though, so we can never be sure, but we hope that they will open source it. And that's, to be honest, the best that we can do.
I had a question.
Yeah,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
just also wanted to ask about the shipping issue. I know that was an issue with Trezor, making sure that things aren't tampered with during shipping.
Yes, that's a very good question. We've been talking about that ourselves in the team yet, and we don't really have an answer to that at this point. Like, we are looking for solutions for that, to be honest. If you have any suggestions, please share.
Not at the moment, but I'm glad you guys are trying to cover all the bases.
Thanks.
Well, I'll say this. We are now at about 15 minutes, which is what the community here has reached a consensus on for the time limits for each of these segments. So I will say, if you're looking for a lot more coverage, feel free to talk to me behind the scenes, and we can open up a room for you guys and give you admin privileges to the server to have your own hangouts to answer, a bunch of questions. But I do want to thank you guys. And if anybody wants to reach out to you guys, how do they go ahead and do that?
You can just send us a mail or contact us through anybody of the team through any kind of social media. I'll put the mail here as well. It's also we were looking into setting up a Slack, but a few of our teams just didn't trust it, so we're looking into more secure, encrypted, basically, chat solutions that should be up and running also in the next week once all the holidays pass.
Sounds good. And to reach you guys, they can do so at info@dawn-project.com. So that is info@dawn- and that is not the word, but the actual -project.com. And thank you very much for joining up. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to virtual growth. I apologize, virtual growth, for the confusion, but we have that figured out now. We are now on you, and it is your turn for sure. No confusion. It will be here. Now, are you able to stand up and talk right now?
Yes.
Well, thank you for being patient, man. And I'll go ahead and I'll step down. Feel free to give everybody some updates on what you've been up to in the ecosystem and what you're up to. And your guest speaker, let him, I'll just let you fill my role for now.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm just gonna make a little update on a couple of things. Steamland and YR Grid, as you know, hasn't been doing too much. It's people will gamble there, so might go the casino route. I have poker there. We have 20 Steam-backed dollars that was donated by Psycho Chica, so for a free roll for anyone interested. So we'll do that at one point when we find people interested. Going to put up Steam-related things that people can visit and to attract new people, potentially, and people can have projects there, hangouts, or different things. We can do tokens for that as well, potentially. I have Virgo, which is my token. I've been trading Trail and Task Manager as one of the major market makers for those. I've been more involved with Structure 21 and Trail, attending hangouts that they have on Discord. I've been spending a lot of time in Forsticken's SteamSpeak, which is great because you just talk to people 24/7 and it's a great thing. Many people, ideas, and much a think tank like here. Just different people, different groups, all different directions. Also have Steam, STEEMP, for Steam Prentice Steam Power as a token on Bitshares now for 1 Steam, which is tradable against OpenSteam currently. It will appreciate in value as 25% of Steam or more is reinvested as for that. As far as the regular Steam Prentice crowdfund group, there we have almost 100 people, some of which have invested a maximum of 1,000 Steam, just to keep people on a certain level so we don't have anybody overly controlling it. Votes are shared with members. The Steam Prentice Crowd Guild now follows all the members, so everybody in the group can follow everyone else easier. Steam Prentice is also now on Streamium, so we can build up a trail to build up more value. This is a way to help distribute Steam to smaller users and middle users, because smaller users have trouble with curation. They don't have enough Steam power. Anyone can invest a minimum of 11.6 Steam, which is added to the Steam power. Part of it is reserved into liquid Steam. Anybody can cash out at any given time as an option. The token will provide as more liquidity and additional Steam power to increase the power of the voting and the curation awards over time. 25% of the profits from those curation awards on a monthly basis will also go to our MVPs, which will be our most valuable posters. We vote for members at 1%. I also vote with Virtual Growth and my other accounts just to add value and more votes to smaller users as well. Top writing authors to provide the most curation awards will get more voting power. This will allow the Steam Prentice crowd group to invest more into those authors because they provide more of an investment back, and that investment will in turn be distributed through everyone in the group that is invested based on how much they have invested. So smaller users can invest just 11.6 Steam, which is the minimum right now, and receive a dividend, which our first one will be at the end of the month. That will be paid out next week. Steam Trail, I've been attending their hangouts, like I said, so I've been tweeting their posts and curating some. Task Manager is a token on Bitshares, as well as Trail for Steam Trails with different aspects. I serve as a market maker. I've been buying and selling 1,000 of all these tokens. I bought about 1,000 Trail this week on the markets against other Steam and other markets, which I offer Bitcoin and BitShares mostly being the major ones, which is the highest activity, as T-Bone mentioned earlier. Virgo also invest in these and different mix of cryptocurrencies if people are interested. Within days last week of introducing the token, it had a volume of $385, which is a great start. Numerous bots are trading. And thank you to those people here that have come here as well. I've noticed numerous names that I've reached out to in my travels at SteamSpeak and Steam Trail, and through the token. If people want free tokens, I am giving them away once in a while. Task Manager did a Christmas Eve giveaway. I did a Christmas giveaway. And again, I have uploaded a post now on my blog, which I posted earlier, is giving free tokens as well and information about them. Periodically, I am providing a market update of these tokens with information of prices and volume. So you feel free to check those out if interested. Also, I have a guest, sirlunch, sirlunch, the host, will be talking shortly. We may be working on a game together, essentially. I don't know exactly what level yet. We'll be discussing that more over time. He's providing videos of these things, and he has other ideas. He's talented in numerous ways, like many of us. He's getting used to Steam and learning about Steam it, and some of us are helping. Thank you to people who have sponsored him as well. I posted all 5 videos on the game account just to put them together and hopefully generate a few more followers and stuff. I'll post that link as well for anyone that wants to look and see them all at once so they can go back and forth a little more easily. Just a hello to Steam Power Twins, my guest in the past, and they will be on again. Just to mention the Steam Live, you can watch them and the tag Steam Live on Steemit for updates, which they will have over time as they get ready to launch their show and network. So Lunch, the host, will also have a show on their network. And thank you to Solomon Solos for his input. He also has a token, which I, being a small market maker, I finally was able to buy a token at the buy wall for a good price. So I'll be watching that token as well. It's great to have a bunch of tokens in the community for all our projects. And of course, BlockPay will be great. Oh, we can use our tokens to buy things at places. That's just kind of amazing. And I'll pause for a moment if anybody has any questions. And so Lunch, the host, will talk in a moment as well.
Before I speak, does anybody else have anything they would like to say? Questions, comments, concerns? Have you been working with Virtual Growth? Would you like to thank Virtual Growth? Anything is valuable from the community here, so feel free to participate. I'll personally say that I think it's going to be amazing that these different cryptocurrencies can be paid. I might be able to someday buy beer with, Steam Trail tokens or Task Manager tokens or, Virtual Growth tokens. This is something that people like you, Virtual Growth, have understood for quite some time because you've been running gaming communities and things like that. But a community of people really can back the value of something if they really so wish to. So it's interesting that we're in this place and this stage in the development of cryptocurrencies where we're starting to experiment in this realm. And like you said, Bitshares is starting to notice a lot of volume that's starting to trickle in, or like T-Bone said actually in chat, Bitshares is starting to see a significant increase in the use of the platform, where things like Ethereum, the transactions and things are starting to go on a downward trend. So it's very interesting to see that we're in this kind of cusp where this stuff is changing. Have you learned anything from your experience with these tokens that maybe like, don't do this, guys and girls, or you might burn yourself, or this worked amazingly, I wish I would have known about this in the beginning, anything like that?
Not really, but I probably have a slight advantage. I've been trading collectibles and stuff for years on a secondary market, like comic books and sports cards and stuff, and it's kind of similar. Those are all like real life things, items, and these are just tokens. So once you understand the values and you see the market, you can buy and sell things with people and markets, and you find what values you can find through your understandings, and then you go forward with those. I haven't been doing them that long. It's pretty recent, and I have a knowledge. I've traded cryptocurrencies for a while. I've traded on the markets, and just kind of a good mix of skills that I've already have. So I'm on a head on the learning curve. Other people, well, good luck to you, I guess. But everybody will learn. Everybody has trouble with learning. With trading, it's very different.
That's true. This is true. Did I hear somebody else try to say something?
Well, that's a good question. When do you expect the first disbursement for Steam Apprentice?
That will be next week at the end of the month after the 31st. So on the 1st is a holiday, but I'll be compiling that all together. So the dividend will be next week.
Thank you.
The dividend won't be a whole lot, but with all the followers and Steam Apprentice now on StreamYard, more people can follow and invest, so there can be more group involvement. And if anybody wants to make posts on the Steam Apprentice account for half of the author awards or all of the author awards or none of the author awards, those are all options as the Steam Power will go into the account. And Sir Lunch, you're up if you want now, since everybody has any more questions for me right now. The other thing I'm going to mention is Steam Bets. I'm going to do again at one point. There's a lot of friction with that. So I've been exploring on what the best way to approach that is and go forward with it. And I'll be doing that in the near future. And go ahead, Sir Lunch.
Yo.
Yes.
What's up, everyone? Thank you, Full Growth, for having me up. Guest, Colonel, hey, what's up, instructor, everybody, chicken. I'm going to make this quick. I've been making a little animated series, if anyone's been following me. The animated series is actually the development of a video game I'm making for the community. And that's just my way of being able to show the progress in a very interesting way so that people can, sorry, thanks. But yeah, it's an easy way. No, I'm not from China. I'm actually from California. But it's a way for me to show the game's progress while trying to get funding. So check out those episodes. I happen to think they're funny. Maybe the last one's kind of borderline, but I'm one of those creators that likes to go to the borderline. As virtual, I do have a show coming out on the Steam Power Twins network called Steam and Beyond with sirlunch, the host. It's going to be a video show, so that's going to be fun. I'm not going to give too many details out, but I'm going really hard with it, so it's trying to get it set together. It's going to be very interesting. I also have a little magazine that I'm doing. It's just pretty much to promote, everything that's happening. And other than that, I'm just working hard with a whole bunch of people. Oh, I have an animated series I'm working on with Bears. He's another Steamian. It's going to be awesome. Let's see here. And yeah, me and Colonel are doing podcasts together, which we had our first one last night. It was amazing. We got good reviews on that, so we're probably going to keep that going. There we go. Community discussions, Steam and community discussions, excuse me. We're probably going to expand on that and make that bigger. So a lot of great things. I have the network show coming up with Steam Power Twins. I got the podcast with Colonel, which is already going currently. I have the magazine, and I have these episodes that I'm releasing to show the progress of the video game that I'm making for the community to download. And I'm also working on a soundtrack for my show, which we'll be able to download, which will help fund me. It's going to be awesome because all my music is awesome, of course. And that's pretty much it. And Buzz, I still want to work with you. Like, we've been disconnected for this whole week. I know it's holidays and stuff. But me and you, brother. I'm still watching you.
I'm very interested in working with all of the people who are here. The people who come here and they have their own projects, I feel great to see that they, even if they're doing similar things, because it's kind of part of the history. So I'm glad to hear that you are working with people, and you guys are still here, coming here and talking about your projects. I don't see these hangouts ending anytime soon, so I suspect we'll still have a place for you guys to come in and talk about that stuff. It's good to see all the stuff you're up to, man. It's a lot of stuff. Can we hear a little bit about this game?
Pretty much from perspective. People who've donated, actually, I've been putting in, so when you watch all your names in there, making characters for them and things like that. So yeah, it's pretty much, it started with Bitcoin's rise. It's called Bitcoin Rise to Power, and Bitcoin. So it's pretty much about Bitcoin just skyrocketing, everyone like being astonished by that, and how that, because we always hear it from, well, if you have Bitcoin, you're in a great position, but we don't hear it from the perspective of someone who probably didn't invest in Bitcoin for the last however many years and really doesn't know what's going on. So it's telling perspective from, Bitcoin coming up. You're joining Steam when Bitcoin's at an all-time high and it's going up. Steam is, changing and it's the end of the year. And it's pretty much doing two purposes. It's helping people understand the culture of Steam, and so that when they join Steam, they understand where we at or the culture. So there are a lot of live topics like the Steam sports event. So when people play the game, they can think of what we were talking about, what's happening, and what that kind of results in different things. Because again, and one thing that I've kind of come to terms with is that if you're a new user, you kind of get lost in all the stuff that's happening when you first join. So I'm just trying to make for you to kind of watch these videos, get a laugh out of it, but then understand where the community's mind is. And then eventually it'll be a game to download. So you can just take it on your phone and, hey, I'm going to play, whatever, and then keep it going and just learn about them. That's what it's about.
What did you use to build this game?
I would love to reveal my secret very big crowd.
Oh, no, I mean, like, do you write it in a certain language, or are you using Unity, or any of the like?
All right, no, I'm not using old, I want to say 2005 games.
Oh, okay.
So anymore, so it's kind of available for people to use.
That's cool.
And, that's cool.
The only reason I ask is because when people like you step up and do things, Virtual Growth is another one who's doing a bunch of different things, trying things out, right? And I see you guys as the perfect people to like tell us, the things that you're up to, so other people can go, oh, well, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Maybe I can try this too. Maybe I can help and do it, and I can make a game too. If it's something that people know about, or know that it might be easy to do it, or it might not be as hard as they think, maybe there's people who would want to, or, who are in our community who might otherwise not do anything. So I just kind of like to ask to see if, but I don't need you to reveal trade secrets or anything, but I will say that there are definitely things. Unity is one of them. It's more open source type of stuff that you can use to build your own games. Now, there is a learning curve. People like sirlunch who are doing this, they don't just pick the dang thing up and they have a game now. It's always a heck of a learning curve, right, Lunch?
Right now, because I have a developing idea. I actually want to start a little group that I come in and people join, and I teach them how to do various things like I can do. And then I release them out into the Steam and they try their hand at things.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
You join me and you want to make a video game. Well, then I'm going to show you what programs I use, how to use exactly to benefit you. If you want to make money, I'll do the same, or music, I'll do the same thing. If you want animation, I'll do the so forth.
Well, we are at the end of our segment, so I hate to interrupt this, but is there anything that yourself, sirlunch, or Virtual Growth would like to close this segment on?
I don't have anything further. I pretty much covered everything I want to. People can find me here, Steam it, chat, and Discord.
And yourself, sirlunch?
Oh, you're good. I just want to say, keep working together and keep having fun. And if you guys have any extra funding, find it in your heart to throw my way. I want to keep these episodes coming into January, so the community can download my Beyond as a host as possible. Other than that, thank you guys for your time.
We greatly appreciate you as well. With that said, guys, we have one more project today, and that's going to be, it's called SteemKure. It's run by Kernel. That's Krnel. And Kernel, are you here?
Yes, I am.
All right, Kernel. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll step back and let you go ahead and talk about what you wanted to talk about with the SteemKure project, and then maybe take some questions and answers from the community.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't really have much to talk about because I haven't really updated it, but I'll take any questions or feedback that people have on if they know about it or if they want to learn about it. If not, if other speakers want to continue with their projects, I'm more than willing to step aside and let that happen. And I'll just mention that I haven't really worked on it much. I've been busy helping other groups. I've been helping Steam Trail and started the podcast thing. But so if anyone wants to ask me any questions or provide feedback, if you know about it, SteemKure is just it's a curation network where people can create their own curation groups, guilds, projects, or lists where they set their own criteria. Well, this is the idea eventually. Right now, the site isn't fully developed. It's only a concept, but so it allowed people to interact based on what they value and create areas the lists where they can submit posts and upvote posts based on what they value rather than just the tags. Like you can create a list and a group or curation group that encompasses more than one tag, and it'll be easier since it's all related. You could do commerce, business, markets, and investment all together, and then that would be a list for people rather than them going to look at one tag after the other. And it would be content that's more valued, not just all the content either. So it allows possibilities for a greater refinement of content selection and evaluation. Thank you.
Colonel, I will say that we need to talk because I want to do something for Beyond Bitcoin with this because I think that
I was there all week, man. I was waiting for you, and I'm like,
yeah,
I guess you were busy, but I'm there anytime you want, man. I'm psyched for it.
Holiday week has been kind of this part, and next week we're moving and stuff too. In addition to everything, so I'm in how do I say this? My most of my time I'm trying to find a way of getting these 2 tools built, but I'm starting to realize that I need to start grabbing the tools that are already in existence and trying to use those too, because then whenever the other tools are built, finally I have the developers I can trust in to actually do stuff and get it all done and have the projects up and running. Then once we have all that stuff, then these projects will just amplify that. So I see what you're doing and I like it. And I really do think that if people want to be able to join Beyond Bitcoin curation group, I will create one and we can start working on that if you'd like.
Cool. Yeah, that's one thing I forgot to mention was, whether should SteemKure still be its own site, or should I work on integrating this into another platform or project that's larger, because people like that whole access in one place. It's easier and simpler for them. It's what people use everywhere. They like that functionality to be in one area. Most of us who want the functionality, we don't, we'll go to SteamDB, we'll go to all the other places to get that functionality, but regular people like that simplicity and that one-stop location. So I'm thinking of adoptability for this feature to become more used by people in the community, that it should, if I could go with another project. So SteamTrail is interested in implementing this feature, so maybe it'll just be like we talked about, something that people can implement anywhere on any site or something like that. So yeah, we'll see where it goes, but definitely some interesting possibilities.
Can I ask you, what are your thoughts on the potential for something like a group to automatically distribute tokens, Bitshares tokens to the stuff that they upvote, essentially giving out tokens to those who create content that a group might feel is valuable to their group. So they can essentially give a token to them. So whenever something like the vote tokens token functionality comes on board, then these people will also be able to get extra votes, essentially like IOUs from that group.
Yeah, as long as whatever the tokens are, that's accessible through an API, so that the website can access it, then it can be done.
Does anybody here who has worked with the Bitshares API at all to know if that would be?
Are you talking about the Bitshares tokens? I'm not familiar with how to interact with Bitshares at all.
Would you be interested in talking to some developers if we could get you in contact with a few of them?
Sure.
Because what I'm starting to see, and I don't know if you guys agree, but I would assume that you would, Virtual Growth has a token, Steam Trails has a token, the Steam Twins have a token. All these different projects are creating their own tokens. I think it would be really cool and I think it would be very very well used. A lot of people would use it if there was the ability to actually pass out tokens to people who write content that is valuable. It might be just extra icing on the cake.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential in the rewards aspect of in the incentivizing, even if they're not necessarily worth anything. It's that whole psychological reward reinforcement aspect that can get people to interact and engage more.
Yeah, well, yeah. Go ahead. No, you're not interrupting.
I can't hear you at all. I still can't hear you.
Hey Fuzz, I wanted to say something. I think that would be a great thing if they could pass out a token like that to their users, because once those users hold that token, they have incentive to make the content more popular and drive up the value.
Well, if people have developers that I can trust, I'm getting to the point where I've put a lot of money in, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of results. So I need people I can trust before I start opening up my pockets too much more. But if I start seeing people, if I start seeing people do actual like good stuff, I can make us all rich with these ideas. You can already see that what people, well, not just Virtual Growth and all these people are going to be using these tokens, and these people like Virtual Growth are going to go out there and spend hours and days saying, how can I create the best schemes to reward people my tokens? And that's precisely what we want. And as soon as we see that, you're going to see things like Bitshares start exploding. And and everybody here, I'm telling you, I say this in all honesty, there have been very, very few times when you can get into Bitshares as low as you can now. And that's including the early days when we first bought in with angel shares and stuff like that. Like, if we had a tool, like had a small set of tools for automating distribution of tokens that are backed by communities of people, it's over, man. You'll just see huge volume on Bitshares, and it'll kickstart everything. And it'll make everybody who's holding Bitshares and all these other tokens very happy people. And I find myself wondering why I can't get it done as fast as I'd like to, and why it seems like the people that I do hire think that it's not a top priority.
I definitely think it's a top priority.
Well,
absolutely.
I'll tell you right now, I'm at the point where I really hope that people will help me find some developers I can trust, because it's literally been a nightmare. Like, I'm not going to joke around here. It's been over 30K out of pocket. So it's like,
yeah, that's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah,
that amount.
I'm going to be
We
honest.
should definitely have something for that amount. We should definitely have something that could easily be used right now. So yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, what's unfortunate?
One question I have is I presume that with Steam and all the different APIs and tools that I've seen made for Steam, that there exists a way to bridge a PHP website to the Steam blockchain. Well, if that exists, and I'm not sure it does, but I presume it does, then it should be almost exactly as easy to do that for the Bitshares blockchain.
And what would that mean to us? I mean, like, are you saying that would mean that developing Bitshares based stuff that would work with Steam should be relatively easy?
What I'm saying is that Colonel asked a question. When you asked Colonel of whether or not that's something he could do in terms of adding distribution for Steam for Bitshares tokens through his website, that's going to require having access to the Bitshares blockchain to be able to see what tokens are available. So that's what's necessary, is a simple bridge to the blockchain. And like I'm saying, if that exists for Steam, which I'm pretty sure it does, then it should be very straightforward to do the same type of thing for the Bitshares blockchain.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it's possible and we can get some developers who are interested, I don't mind spending money on people. I'm just gonna. It's gotten to the point though, like, it doesn't help me. It doesn't help anybody if I'm paying people money who just don't give us what we. So if anybody, like, this is me actually asking if we can kindly consider forming like a group to try to build these tools. I would pay out of pocket if I knew that they would get done, but I'm starting to realize that everybody needs to be part of these tools. Things like SteemKure, I think, are a great foundation for this. And I don't know what Colonel can do and what he can't, or what he's comfortable with and what he's not comfortable with. But things like these are a good foundation because he's done something and it actually works.
Wait, how deep is his knowledge? I don't know if you don't mind me asking.
No problem. Not very deep. I learn as I go and I just get things done.
Cool. Thanks for being transparent.
Which is better than somebody who has deep knowledge and doesn't get things done. So I'm very much not against working with you and trying to get you guys around people who can help answer some questions, because these tools, we just frigging need them. We need them for so long, and everybody sits around and says, why do we have this problem? Why do we have this problem? It's because people can't use it. And once we just make it easy for people to use this stuff, and we can like build some bridges like these vote tokens, you're going to see things start to happen that are going to really blow people's minds. It's just
Can I ask a quick question? Does anybody here know the answer to this question? Is there a communication channel between a website? I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people that have developed the tools for Steam that are web based. Did they use a WebSocket to communicate to get information from the Steam blockchain, or is there some other more detailed level of code that's required than using a WebSocket from a web page? Doesn't sound like there's anybody that can answer that question, at least very quickly.
Cricket.
Yeah.
As far as I've seen, people get information about Steam it through other databases, not direct. It's indirect, and that's one of the tricky parts and problems.
That is indeed very sad to hear. Because of the number of tools that I've seen posted even early on with Steam, I thought for sure there had to have been an interface to develop for it. And that's something that's a shame, because we had this need identified way back in the early days of Bitshares, and it wasn't addressed when Graphene was produced. And yet I do see things that make me believe that some people have overcome this hurdle and have direct access. So it's, you don't have, would be hopefully that you wouldn't have to host your own full node in order to do this. But that's why I asked about the WebSockets layer, because if you can communicate with a WebSockets to some other place where the full node is hosted, then you've really lightened the load a lot on your website of the fence.
There is for some functionalities like G-Kicking and Bitcoin Paradise mentioned with Piston.
I'm aware of Piston, and that is a good API for doing this type of thing. I'm thinking more along the lines of PHP, because that's such a predominant development. That's what WordPress is built on, and so many other platforms for the web are built on. So if Piston can be used, if there's a bridge between PHP and Python, which is what Piston is written in, then that could be the way to solve the problem.
Somebody in the community did make some PHP tools on some level. I don't recall it off the top of my head at the moment.
Well, we can take this offline. It's getting a bit too technical for the conversation.
Well, I'm glad that we're getting into this, though. SteemKure, did you have any problems working with the Steam blockchain to do what you're doing with SteemKure?
Yeah, mentioned last week, just finding the information on how to get it all working is it's a bit disparate. It's not centralized in a way that you can learn about it easily. And I didn't hear Thomas's point. I only caught the WebSockets, and so I didn't feel ready to answer. But people do like host a node, and they created their own interface to the node data, and so you have node.steam.ws. And I'm not sure if that's just for JavaScript or Python through Piston, but I use that address for a WebSocket connection through JavaScript. So there's the JavaScript one, there's the Python one. PHP, there isn't one. I've tried to look into getting PHP to run through Python code, but there's a module in Python, but it's like really outdated, so it probably doesn't even work. So that functionality isn't there. I guess someone would have to make an API. Someone right now is doing a Java API. They posted about it and they weren't sure, so I encouraged them to keep going, and they're posting updates. They're doing it. So there's a Java one in development as well.
Well, it sounds like, though, I'll have to jump back in here and say that if you're doing it through JavaScript, that's another good bridge for doing web work, to bridge to the WebSockets interface. So we could probably develop something like that in fairly short order using the libraries that you're using in JavaScript to communicate with the Steam blockchain. We can probably do the same thing in Bitshares. Like Virtual Growth mentioned, it does depend a lot on what type of transactions you're going to be doing. And when it comes to distribution of Bitshares tokens, you're probably going to need a lot of a pretty good access to more than just the database API. You're going to have to probably be into several APIs to get that to work properly.
Well, let me ask you guys a question, if you don't mind. What would you guys say if we formed like a little consortium to get some of this stuff done? Like, we all work together to get some of this stuff done. Like, the API is made so it's easy for people to build the stuff they need to build. And we can all direct the same, like, people who we see doing good things toward working on this project, and maybe get some of this stuff done so everybody here who's here, or a lot of the people here, they want to form their own communities and have their own tokens and stuff. They share the same goals as it is, at least on a foundational level. So, would you guys be interested in maybe taking an hour every Friday after the Hangouts to maybe discuss some of this stuff and like have meetings to build some of this stuff? Because man, if I could build it myself, I would. But I'm finding that it's a nightmare getting somebody I can trust to frigging build it. And the sad thing to me about it is I'm surrounded by smart people in graphene, so it shouldn't be so hard. But they're all on other projects, so I have to go out and try to find other people. But man, it's just like, you can trust me with the money to give it to people to build it, but I can't trust them to build it. So I need to kind of reach out and grab a group of people who can help me to do this, who I can trust to do it, and we can make even a little podcast around it. I would love to do this because this is the passion that I see, like building these tools for people who want to build communities, making it easy for them to build these communities and just suck in a bunch of people who are going to love what we're doing. If we can get that done, the marketing angle's gone. We don't even have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, it's a good idea for a little short hangout and discussing some stuff just for the coders. Good.
I mean, would you be interested in do others know people who might be interested in joining it? Because I'm very interested in doing it, and I know for a fact that like the people who are sitting here right here, they have an opportunity that I don't know that they're going to get again. And to me, that's like, if you were not a Steam founder, if you were not a Bitshares founder, you didn't have a chance to get in on being a whale early all the time. Now, Bitshares is in a place where if we build this bridge into Steam and people can start using their own tokens on Steam, it changes the game. And I really do think that once people, if you own some Bitshares early on and we build this and we build it right, the Bitshares that you hold today, not even talking about the Steam, are going to be worth a heck of a lot more. And things like vote tokens are going to incentivize people not to power down anymore, because they're going to want their tokens that are their liquid tokens that are used as vote IOU to be worth as much as they can be. So I see a lot of value that if we build this, the incentive structure just works, creates volume on Bitshares, creates a demand for people to not power down. It just seems like it works for both sides if we can do it. And we can get paid and get people paid by covering them. If anybody's interested, let me know, because we can make this part of the first part of Whale Tank if you guys want.
Is this only for developers?
People who build stuff, but developers would be extremely important. But no, not only developers. I mean, everybody's valuable, especially those who have ideas. But I would definitely say that we need people, everybody in the group needs to consider, do I know any developers who I can trust to actually get stuff done? And if so, we reach out to them. Everybody reaches out to the ones that they know. We leverage the network of trust that we have, and we build this group and just build stuff because we need it, man. And the competition will catch up eventually. But why even wait?
I'm sorry to bring it up again because I always talk about Pure Tracks, but they had some really revolutionary ideas with what they wanted to do with artist tokens. And so, I'm not saying hire their developers because that never came to fruition, but it might be worth talking to them.
Well, with that, I mean, you got to look now. The competition has caught up. You got Ujo Music, you got Alexandria.io. You got a lot of other projects that are basically offering the same kind of functionality that Peer Tracks was going to offer. I know Cedric. I've had a couple of talks with him. I don't know exactly where Peer Tracks is at right now in their development, or if it's even being developed. But it's like, the market's saturated now with petition. It's like, what was revolutionary a year and a half, 2 years ago, now everybody's
exactly,
doing it.
Sully. It's that window of time for shock and awe, and then watching your shares go up like 40 times in value is closing on certain
Exactly.
ideas. For all of you guys, I'm always open with all my ideas, and people can steal them, but I always ask, why don't we work and get along and don't cut people out of the ideas? Bring people on board and get them invested so we can all work together and build real value.
Right. I was just kind of saying more the function of artist tokens would be a great thing to have for dudes like Sirlunch host to pass out, and like that's a very valuable tool to the survival and getting people to be able to bring value to your content by wanting to drive up that token. And so if those guys might have anything to offer on how to go about doing that, that could be helpful to what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I understand. You're talking more functionality. Sure, I think that functionality is definitely, yeah. I'm sorry, Tom. Hold on.
I mean, think about Steam Power Twins handing out their tokens to get people to watch their show, or for people watching their show, and then people watching their show holding this valueless token that they're like, hey, well, if this show gets more popular, then the value of this token is going to go up. And so it creates incentive on both sides.
Yeah, my big thing is, and I'm definitely not against the Steam Power Twins doing their thing, because what they're doing, they're go-getters.
I'm saying anybody.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, my big thing right now is, since we are building blockchains type of space, and we're trying to build a decentralized community, and truly, the more decentralized the ownership is in the end, the more valuable the token's going to be worth, right? So to me, I see it as kind of like a.
You said the more decentralized the token, the more value.
The more hands that value and hold it is a better way of saying it, right? So I can't just give a bunch of tokens to everybody, everybody in New Zealand, because 99% of them are going to say this token's worth crap. What the hell is it? 1% of them are going to hold. That distribution isn't necessarily a great idea. But ultimately, what do you want your distribution to be? You want it to be as widely distributed as possible into the hands of a demographic who's like, no, you can't have my token. We'll share them, but no, they're not getting. I'm not giving them up easily.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily need decentralization. That's simply
you're
distribution.
Right. Yeah,
that's a distribution tactic. Yeah, that's
you're 100% right.
Yeah, I know decentralized, or the word decentralization is like a buzzword in crypto space, but it really, look at it, it has no bearing on the actual adoption of a token. It's not a methodology for actually onboarding a demographic. That's going to be whether it's okay, cool.
But what I'm saying
whether it's an algorithm or a human, how you distribute a token and why you distribute it, that's really what's going to determine its adoption.
Well, let's take it a little bit more meta, though, and this is where I'm taking it, is there are lots of people who are awesome at what they. I can look at. I mean, for God's sake, there are numerous people in this Mumble Hangout right now who have their own hangouts, who have their own, who have their own communities that they're working on, their own projects that they're working on. There are a lot of people here, and I see all of these people, and I say, man, if only we gave them a few tools, we would all be so much wealthier. We'd all be so much better off.
La 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 la.